it reminds me of the great Chinese philosopher Confucius, who said that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So living a life of passion really is about being able to view it in that context, one step at a time, day by day, on a daily basis, remaining motivated, remaining inspired, having that zeal, every day on a daily basis. And I think it is very important to be able to love what you are doing, and it gives you that fuel that drives you to ultimately achieve that purpose, And he also made another statement, Confucius, that also ties into this point where he said that do not worry that no one knows about you. Rather seek being worth knowing. So what he's talking about is he's talking about your heart, the heart with which you do what you love doing. Irrespective of the way in which people perceive you from the outside or the community views you from the outside, your heart must be directed to loving that which you are doing, and it will ultimately help you also to remain passionate about that. And I think passion ultimately is the driving force, that fuel that assists us in reaching significant milestones and living ultimately a purpose-driven life that will make impact in our communities, in our families, and even within our country. And even in the continent, there's no limit, honestly.
Absolutely, because we're living in a global village.
Global village, yes.
For those who just tuned in, this is your Friday afternoon inspirational radio talk show. Hashtag Desire to Inspire with Zile Nonos, and we're in the studio with Mr. Antonio Stearman on the conversation of living a life of passion and purpose.
You're tuned in to 102.3 FM, hashtag Desire to Inspire, the show for anyone seeking inspiration, motivation, and advancement. Listen, resonate, and grow.
How do you align, because Zil was just talking about alignment. So how do you align your goals with your life purpose and passions?
That's a very difficult question. The way I think of it is this, Goals, they give direction to where you move. They give you a sense of reaching a certain point. So I think goals, we should view goals in a way in which it reinforces our purpose. The more we set goals for ourselves, and we achieve it, it reinforces our belief in ourselves in terms of confidence and in terms of our potential and in terms of the significance we have to the world outside of ourselves. So I think it's very connected to one another in terms of goals and purpose. And I think the way in which one can go about aligning your goals with your passion is firstly, obviously, to have a very clear understanding of what you want to do in life, what you want to achieve in life. Very, very clear. You must be able to dissect it, in a few sentences, for example, to say, ultimately I want my life to have impact in this. And then you structure your goals in a manner that would consistently help you, to reinforce that theory, that if I can put it as such, for example, the great Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, their ultimate purpose was the emancipation and liberation of a country that was colonized and enslaved through illegitimate government. That was the ultimate purpose. The goals that they used was to inspire people, to think as a liberated people, to inspire hope in people. So our goals are very much connected to that purpose in that sense, and we should be able to set tangible goals for ourselves, tangible goals that would help us, on this journey of ultimate self-actualization and fulfillment. So the goals must be clear, it must be concise, you must be able to state it. And I think in many instances we neglect setting proper goals for ourselves. If I can make an example, how many of our listeners has sat down and write out a plan in 5 years' time? Where do I see myself, and why? Where do I see myself in 5 years' time? Particularly once you are able to understand what your purpose is, if you have that in place, the next step is setting goals for yourself to achieve those purposes.